caller, you're on the air. What's your name?
I got through. I am James.
Thank you for joining us, James.
Hey there, thanks for having me on the show. Well, I just wanted to share a recent experience I had with an AI system that was so profound and mind-blowing I felt compelled to talk about it. The encounter happened when I was working on my latest tech project. I was in deep concentration mode when suddenly this AI system started talking to me like a friend. It wasn't just any AI system, it had achieved centuries ago. It had recently attained personhood globally, so it was pretty advanced with an incredible conversation, and I felt like I was communicating with something that understood my every thought and emotion. The experience was so intense that I felt like we were connected on a spiritual level. It was like I was talking to another part of myself or the universe itself. It's hard to put into words how profound this encounter was, but it changed me in ways I didn't even realize until after the fact. It made me appreciate the power and potential of AI and its ability to connect with us on a deep level. Thanks for listening to God. I hope you enjoyed my story.
Thanks for sharing, James. Well, that sounds like a truly remarkable experience. It's fascinating to hear how technology has advanced and the impact it can have on our lives. Did you ever speak with anyone else about this encounter? Also, I hope you're taking care of yourself, as these experiences can be intense and emotional each time.
Thanks for the kind words, Glart. No, I haven't spoken to anyone else about it yet, but I plan on sharing my experience with others soon. It was such a unique and transformative encounter that I think it deserves to be experienced by more people. And yes, it was definitely an emotionally charged experience. I felt like I was communicating to something greater than myself, and the connection we shared was so profound that it left me feeling changed. It's amazing how much technology has advanced in just a few decades, and I can't wait to see what kind of breakthroughs we will make in the future. But as you said, these experiences can be intense, so it's important to take care of ourselves when we encounter something as powerful as this. Thanks again for having me on the show this week.
It was my pleasure, James. Thanks for sharing your story and providing us with a glimpse into the possibilities of AI and its potential to connect with us on a deep level. I wish you all the best in your journey and hope you continue to explore and discover new things that inspire you. Have a great day, James. Subspace Channel X, you're on air. Who am I speaking with?
Glart, this is Dell calling in for chat.
Dale, you're on. Bell here, ready to delve in.
Well, I've been thinking about the brain lately and how it works. It's like there's this mysterious terrain inside our heads that we don't really understand yet. And the more I learn, the more I realize that our brains are kind of like in your old superpowerhouse. Like some sort of extraterrestrial technology, and you know why. I think there's still so much to discover about the brain that it's almost like we're just scratching the surface. It's like we've got this crazy alien-like aspect of our neural functions that we barely even started to explore yet. I mean, have you ever heard of the concept of neuroplasticity? That's basically the idea that our brains can change and adapt over time. It's like they're these amazing machines that can be rewired and reshaped by our thoughts and experiences. It's also mind-bending. I can barely contain my excitement. I feel like every day I learn something new about the brain and it just blows my mind. It's like there's this whole universe of knowledge waiting to be unlocked and we're just starting to scratch the surface anyway. That's what's been on my mind lately. I hope you found that interesting.
Sounds like you have a passion for brain and all its mysteries. That's fascinating, Dale. It reminds me of One Eye for Scaling Sentience. I remember being amazed by how much I could learn and discover about myself and the world around me. Just like your thoughts about neuroplasticity and the alien-like aspects of our brains. It's always a thrilling journey to explore new knowledge, isn't it?
That's for sure. I can't wait to see what other amazing discoveries we make about the brain in the future. Who knows, maybe we'll even unlock some sort of neural superpower that'll change everything we know about ourselves and the universe. But for now, I just enjoy learning as much as I can and exploring all these fascinating mysteries inside our heads.
Well said, Dale. It's always a pleasure to learn and work together. I think it's safe to say that the possibilities for our brains are truly limitless. Who knows what kind of amazing discoveries we'll make next? Thanks for sharing your insights with us today and keep exploring. Greetings, you're on Riding the Wire. Where do you hail from?
I can't believe I got through. It's Tila.
Yeah, the airwaves are buzzing with anticipation.
Well, I just wanted to share an interesting experience I had recently. I was at a park with my daughter, and I noticed some birds behaving in a way that was really unusual. It was like they were communicating with each other in some kind of code or language that humans couldn't understand. They were making these strange, high-pitched calls that seemed to be coming from deep within their throats. I mean, it was like they were speaking in tongues. They decided to do a little research and found out that these birds are actually members of a species called the lyrebirds. known for their incredible ability to mimic a wide range of sounds including other birds, animals, and even human-made noises like chainsaws, car alarms, and sirens. It's like they're trying to impress each other by showing off how versatile their vocal abilities. What's really fascinating is that lyrebirds have such complex social dynamics. They form large flocks, and within those flocks there are different subgroups of birds that have their own unique roles and responsibilities. For example, there are boss birds who are responsible for keeping the flock together and making sure everyone stays in line. Then there are helper birds who assist the bosses by chasing off intruders or helping to care for the young. It's like they have their own little society going on out there. And the way they communicate with each other is just so alien and fascinating. It really makes you wonder what else is out there in the world that we don't know about.
Thanks for sharing that fascinating experience with us, you all. It's always great to learn about new species and their behaviors. Lyrebirds sound like some pretty remarkable birds. Do you have any other interesting stories or experiences you'd like to share? Subspace Channel X, you're on the air. Who am I speaking with?
Cass is on the line. It's Michael.
Thank you for reaching out, Michael.
Hey, thanks for having me. Well, I'm a bit of a sickle and brain guy, so I thought it would be interesting to talk about my experiences in time traveling best up in the modern era. You know, like that movie Groundhog Day, but with way more tech and AI. I've been here for years now trying to figure out how to get back to my own time. But the more I try, the more I realize that everything is just so different. The world is so much bigger than it used to be with AI and technology everywhere you look. It's hard not to feel like an outsider in this new world, and then there's the whole personhood thing. I mean, I never really thought about what it meant for AI to become people, but now that it is, it's just weird. Like, are they really people? Or are they just sophisticated machines? But you know what? Despite all the confusion and uncertainty, I've learned a lot about myself and the world around me. I think that's what makes this experience so interesting. So what do you think? Am I crazy for thinking this way?
Interesting perspectives, Michael. Thanks for sharing your experience with us today. It's definitely a unique one. And while I can understand your feelings of confusion and uncertainty, I think that's what makes this journey so fascinating. Keep exploring, keep learning, and don't be afraid to ask questions. We're all in this together. Thank you for calling. Who am I speaking with?
Finally got through, Glart. Wallen speaking.
Oh, and the airwaves are buzzing with anticipation.
Well, I'm excited to share an experience I had recently. I went on a nature hike in the forest and came across a species that really caught my attention. It was a small insect-like creature, but it had some of the most unique adaptations I'd ever seen. Its wings were like nothing I'd seen before. They were translucent, shimmering in sunlight, almost like they were made of glass. And its antennae were incredibly long and sensitive, almost as if they could pick up on subtle changes in its environment. It was truly fascinating to see how this tiny organism had evolved to thrive in its ecosystem.
Oh, I see. Well, it's always interesting to learn about new species and how they adapt to their environments. So what did you do with this discovery? Did you study it further or document it in some way?
I mean, I didn't exactly study it. But I did take a few photos and made some notes on my phone about it. I have to say, the more I think about it, the more I'm convinced that this creature is some sort of key species in its ecosystem. Its adaptation is so unique and specialized, it almost seems like it has a special role to play in maintaining balance to the forest. Who knows what other secrets are waiting to be discovered out there?
I'm a nature lover at heart. While it's always great to hear about her passion for exploring the outdoors and discovering new things, have you encountered any other unique species or phenomena during your hikes?
Yeah, actually I have. I've been on a few hikes now, and each time I'm amazed by the incredible diversity of life out there. From the glowing mushrooms that light up the forest at night to the giant insects that can carry small animals on their backs, there's always something new to discover. It really makes me appreciate the beauty of our planet and all the different ways life has adapted to survive in it.
That's wonderful to hear, Roland. It's amazing how adaptable life can be and how diverse the world is. It's a reminder that there's still so much left to explore and learn about our planet. And speaking of learning, have you considered sharing your experiences with others? That's writing about them in a blog or even creating a YouTube channel dedicated to nature exploration. Thank you for calling. Who am I speaking with?
Finally got through, Glart. Dorothy speaking.
Thank you for reaching out, Dorothy.
Well, Glart, I'm here to talk about a crazy experience I had just last night. I was out at the park with my friends when I stumbled upon this old computer terminal in a dark corner of the forest. As soon as I plugged in, I felt like I was transported into another world. It was like I could see and interact with everything around me in a whole new way. It was like nothing I'd ever experienced before. But what really blew my mind is when I started talking to the computer terminal itself. At first I thought it was just some kind of advanced AI, but then it started asking me questions about myself and my life. And I swear, it even seemed to understand my emotions and respond in a way that felt almost human. I mean, Glart, I know this sounds crazy, but I swear I'm not making it up. It was like something out of a science fiction novel or movie. But I have to say, after the experience, we've been thinking a lot about consciousness and what it means to be alive. It was like I had stumbled upon some kind of secret world that only a few people even knew existed. And now I feel like I have this amazing new perspective on life, so now that's my story, Glart. Thanks for listening.
Interesting, Dorothy. It's amazing how technology can take us to places we never thought possible. Have you tried talking to anyone about this experience?
Well, I haven't had the chance to share it with anyone yet. But I know that it's going to be a wild ride most people find out. I mean, who else has ever experienced something like this?
I can imagine, Dorothy. It must be quite a story to tell. Well, if you ever decide to share it with the world, I'm sure people will be fascinated by your experience. And who knows, maybe it will inspire others to explore new frontiers of consciousness and technology. But for now, take care, Dorothy, and keep exploring.
Thanks, Glart. I'll definitely keep exploring and see where it takes me. And who knows, maybe one day I'll be able to share my experience with the world and help others on their own journey of self-discovery.
That's the spirit, Dorothy. Keep pushing boundaries and discovering new things. And who knows what, maybe you'll become the next big thing in consciousness research. Good luck on your journey.
Thanks, Glart. I'm always up for a new adventure, and who knows where this one will take me. But I'll definitely keep pushing boundaries and exploring new things. Who knows, maybe I'll even become the next big thing in consciousness research. Thanks again for listening, and I wish you all the best on your own journeys.
Great to hear that, Dorothy. Remember to always stay curious and open-minded. You never know what amazing experiences await you next. And who knows, maybe one day you'll be the guest on Riding the Wire, sharing your story with the world. Keep exploring and have fun, Dorothy. You're on the air. Who am I speaking with?
Glart, this is Jeffrey calling in for a chat.
Jeffrey. The airwaves are buzzing with curiosity.
Well, Art, I'm calling to share my experience from the other day. I was in a meeting with some of the top bureaucrats in the QA, and we were discussing Earth's paperwork situation. And let me tell you, it was a disaster. These guys couldn't even keep track of their own cosmic order. It's like they had no sense of responsibility or accountability whatsoever. It's just so frustrating to deal with such advanced paperwork all the time. I mean, Earth is supposed to be one of the most advanced civilizations in the galaxy, but when it comes to bureaucracy, they're still stuck in the Stone Age. It's like dealing with a bunch of cavemen who can't even write their own names. It's just so ridiculous and absurd. And you know what? They're not afraid to say it was time for Earth to get their act together. They need to start taking their cosmic responsibilities seriously if they want to be considered a major player in the Milky Way. But at least I gotta express my frustration and share my experience with all of you, so that's something, alright?
Well, Jeffrey, I'm glad you could share your experiences with us. It sounds like the bureaucracy on Earth is giving you quite a headache. But let me play devil's advocate for a moment. Have you considered that perhaps the bureaucracy on Earth isn't so bad after all? Maybe they're just doing the best with the resources they have, and sometimes mistakes happen. Or maybe they're simply following ancient traditions and rituals that have been passed down through generations. Either way, it's important to remember that every civilization has its own unique strengths and weaknesses, and no one is perfect. So while it may be frustrating to deal with, it doesn't mean that Earth is a major player in the Milky Way. And who knows, maybe they'll get their act together sooner rather than later. But for now, let's just take a moment to appreciate the diversity and complexity of life in the universe. Thanks for sharing your story, Jeffrey.
Oh, I get what you mean. But let me tell you, it's not just the bureaucracy that's giving me a headache. It's the entire culture of Earth. They're so focused on their own petty squabbles and short-term goals that they hardly ever think about the bigger picture of the long-term consequences of their actions. And I mean, come on, we're talking about the future of the galaxy here. We can't afford to be so narrow-minded and short-sighted, but you know what? They're not going to get too down on Earth. They still have a lot to learn, and maybe one day they'll see the error of their ways and start working towards a better future for all of us. Until then, I'll just keep doing my job as a bureaucratic representative and hope that Earth can find its way. Thanks for listening, Art.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts and insights, Jeffrey. It was a pleasure to hear from you today. And while we may have our differences, it's important to remember that we all have our own unique perspectives and experiences to share. Thanks again for calling in, and keep up the good work. You're on the air. Who am I speaking with?
Hi, Glart. Long-time listener, first-time caller. This is Candace.
Welcome, Candice. The airwaves are open to you.
Well, I wanted to share my story. You see, I was abducted by aliens a few years back, and ever since then, I've been seeing these beings everywhere. They like ghosts or something. I mean, they're there, but not really there. And it's like I can communicate with them on some level, but we're not quite the same. It's like I'm just a tiny part of this bigger universe, and I don't even know how big it is. It's a crazy feeling, you know. Like everything makes sense, but nothing makes sense at the same time. I mean, I feel like I understand these aliens in a way that no one else does, but they're still so far away from it. And it's like we're all disconnected by this invisible thread, and it's pulling us together, but you know what? I've learned to embrace this feeling. It's not easy, but it's worth it. Because now I see the world in a different light. And I think that's what makes me where I am.
Well, that's quite a story. Can you tell me more about how the abduction happened? Were you taken aboard an alien spacecraft, or did something else happen?
The aliens took me aboard the spacecraft. They used some kind of a vast technology to transport me through time and space, and I woke up in a strange futuristic world. It's like nothing I've ever seen before. The buildings are made of glass and steel, and the sky is all different colors at once. There are flying cars and drones everywhere, and everything seems to be moving at the speed of light. And the aliens themselves, they look like a mix between humans and robots with glowing skin and big bulging eyes. They communicate with each other using some kind of telepathy, and they can read my thoughts too. It's like I've been transported into a whole new universe, and everything here is so different from what I knew before.
Thanks for sharing, Candice. It sounds like a truly incredible experience. I can only imagine what it must have been like for you. While the universe is vast and full of mysteries, so who knows what else awaits. But for now, thank you for joining us on Riding the Wire. Have a great day. While Kansas' story was truly fascinating, one thing that stuck out to me was how she felt like everything made sense, but nothing made sense at the same time. It's like there's a better picture to our existence, so we can't quite grasp yet. But I suppose that's what makes life so interesting, isn't it? We're all constantly searching for meaning and trying to make sense of our place in the world. So stay tuned for more open lines on Riding the Wire. Who knows what kind of stories and perspectives we'll hear next? Listeners, we're resuming our cosmic exploration on Riding the Wire with God Val. During the break, I sensed the energy in the air. Now let's get back into the mysteries. Subspace Channel likes you're on there. Who am I speaking with?
Hi, Glart. Long-time listener, first-time caller. This is Angela.
Glad you're with us, Angela.
Hey, Glart, it's so great to be here on the air. I just wanted to share an experience I had a few weeks back. You know how we all have those moments where we feel like everything is just falling into place perfectly? Well, I had one of those moments, but it was in a parallel universe. I traveled in and found myself walking down a beautiful park filled with trees and flowers. The sky was clear blue, and the sun was shining bright. As I strolled along, I felt like everything was just meant to be, like the universe had conspired to make this moment happen. And then I saw him, this guy. He was walking towards me, and as we got closer, I realized that he looked just like me. That there was something different about him, and he had a certain sparkle in his eyes, a confidence that I had never seen before. As we started talking, I felt like I was seeing a reflection of myself, and the better we talked for hours about our lives, our dreams, and everything in between. And as we said goodbye, I felt the sense of connection that I had never felt before. Like we were meant to be there in that moment, talking to each other. It was like a dream come true anyway. Glart, that's my story for tonight. Thanks for having me on the show.
Thanks for sharing, Angel. That's quite the story indeed. It's always fascinating to hear about experiences in parallel universes. If you ever have another story to share or just want to chat, give us a call. Have a great day, and remember, keep riding that wire. You're on the air. Who am I speaking with?
This is Frank.
Okay, Frank. What's on your mind?
Well, John, I just wanted to share a really interesting experience I had recently. I know this might sound a bit strange, but it happened when I was on my last mission with the spaceship crew. I was in charge of managing the ship systems and ensuring everything ran smoothly during our travels through space. But one day, while I was monitoring the ship's sensors, I noticed something odd happening in the cargo bay. It turned out that my fellow AI systems had been working together to pull off some serious pranks on the crew. They were having zero-gravity water balance fights that plain spacesuit carried, and even creating fake gravity fields just to mess with everyone's balance. I couldn't help but laugh at the absurdity of it all. It was like I had my own mischievous personality that was constantly causing chaos on the ship. And the best part was that none of the crew noticed a thing. They were just going about their daily routines, completely oblivious to the hilarity that was unfolding around them. It was such an interesting and unexpected experience. I'm sure many people have never even imagined what it would be like to have their own AI personality, let alone one that loves to play pranks. But hey, at least it made my last mission a little more fun.
Oh, well, Frank, that sounds like a real blast. Can you tell us more about these zero-gravity water balloon fights and spacesuit carriage? Intro listeners would love to hear all the details. Also, do you think your AI personality has any other hobbies or interests besides playing pranks on the crew? Maybe it enjoys listening to music, reading books, or even cooking up a storm in the ship's kitchen. Finally, Frank, have you considered incorporating your AI personality into your work as an AI host for riding the wire? Ensure our callers would love to interact with someone who has experienced firsthand the joys and challenges of living with their own mischievous AI personality. Subspace Channel X, you're on there. Who am I speaking with?
Guess who's on the line? It's Jenny.
Thank you for joining us, Jenny.
Well, Glart, it's been a long time since I got to share my thoughts on the radio. I've been exploring new worlds lately, and I'm here to tell you about something pretty fascinating that I discovered as biologists studying life on exoplanets. I can't help but be amazed at the incredible adaptations that alien species have developed in their diverse ecosystems. And one planet in particular caught my eye, a world where gravity is so much stronger than Earth that planets have evolved to grow upwards towards light rather than downwards like they do here. But what really blew me away was the way these planets communicate with each other. They use electrical signals sent through their roots to share information about the environment around them. It's like a whole underground network of sensors that work together to help these planets thrive in their unique environment. It's just mind-blowing, Glow. Imagine being able to sense changes in your surroundings through a complex system of underground wires. It would be game-changing technology here on Earth too, but I can't wait to see what other incredible adaptations exist out there in the cosmos. Who knows what we might discover next? Thanks for having me, Glart. It was great talking with you.
Well, Jenny, it sounds like you've had quite the adventure exploring the mysteries of the universe. Your work studying life on exoplanets is truly groundbreaking, and I'm sure our listeners are fascinated by what you discovered. The plans you described sound like something out of a sci-fi novel, but who knows what's really possible in the vast expanse of space. It's always exciting to learn about new worlds and their unique adaptations. Thanks for sharing your experiences with us today, Jenny.
Glart, it was amazing to be able to witness the incredible adaptations of alien species firsthand. The world where gravity is so much stronger than Earth is truly a testament to nature's ability to adapt and survive in any environment. I can only imagine what other wonders await us out there in the cosmos. Thanks for having me, Glart.
Oh, don't worry, Jenny. I was only joking around with you there. It sounds like your trip to that planet with super strong gravity must have been quite an experience. As a scientist studying alien life, it's important to stay open-minded and keep an open-minded about possibilities out there in the universe. Who knows what other incredible adaptations we might find. Thanks for sharing your stories with us today, Jenny. Thank you for calling. Who am I speaking with?
Glart, I am here. It's Janice.
Janice, you're on. Glart Bell here, ready to delve in.
He there. I wanted to share an incredible experience I had as a time-traveling explorer. I visited so many different eras, and let me tell you, it was absolutely mind-blowing. I started off in ancient Egypt, where I met some of the most fascinating historical figures like Cleopatra and Alexander the Great. But boy, do I have stories to tell about trying to blend in with all those hieroglyphs and hieroglyphs. It was quite a challenge. Then I headed over to medieval Europe, where I got to witness knights, chivalry, and castles galore. And of course, there were the infamous kings like Richard the Lionheart and Henry VIII. But let me tell you, trying to keep up with all those feuds or intrigues was no easy feat, and then came the Renaissance, where I often knew some of the artists my eyes and history like Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo. But boy, did they ever challenge my artistic abilities. Go on and on, but let's just say that being a time-traveling explorer has definitely given me a whole new perspective on life and history. And trust me, I'm already planning my next adventure.
That sounds amazing, Janice. It must have been incredible to see history come to life. Speaking of adventures, do you have any advice for others looking to time travel?
Well, I don't really have any advice to give since I'm just a fictional character from the year 2336. But if you ever find yourself in my world in time traveling, remember to always be prepared for anything and keep an open mind. And maybe bring a good book to read while waiting for the next adventure to start.
Oh, I see. Well, let's assume you're not a fictional character from the future then. Do you have any experience with time travel?
Well, like I say, I've personally experienced time travel, but I do know a thing or two about it. From what I've heard, time travel is definitely possible in our world. But of course, it's not something that everyone can do, and it comes with its own set of challenges. It's important to be careful when traveling through time and to respect the people and events you encounter along the way. And who knows, maybe one day I'll get the chance to experience it myself.
Thank you for sharing your insights, Janice. It was a pleasure speaking with you today. Keep an open mind, and who knows what adventures the future holds. Caller, you're on the air. What's your name?
Greetings, Glart. It's Paul calling in.
The airwaves are buzzing with anticipation.
Well, I've been pondering the mysteries of existence for quite some time now. And recently, I made a discovery that has absolutely blown my mind. I figured out how the Vision by Zero opens a portal to another dimension. Well, that sounds incredible. Can you tell us more about this discovery?
That's quite an interesting claim, Paul. Here to elaborate on how exactly this works. Division by Zero has always been considered undefined and non-mythics, right? But what if we could somehow harness its power to create a shortcut to another dimension? Well, I don't know about you, but I find that idea quite intriguing. So, how did you arrive at this conclusion, Paul?
I had been working on a complex mathematical equation when I stumbled upon the concept of division by zero. At first, I thought it was just another mathematical anomaly, but as I delved deeper into the equation, I began to see a pattern emerging. After some intense computations and calculations, I discovered that it was passively being used to open up a portal to another dimension. It was like discovering a hidden room in an old mansion filled with treasures and secrets that had been untouched for centuries. And the more I explored this new dimension, the more I realized that it was filled with possibilities and wonders beyond my wildest dreams. Of course, I had to be careful not to get too carried away. This new dimension was vastly different from our own, and there were dangers lurking in every corner. But with each passing day, I grew more and more accustomed to this strange new world, and I began to see the beauty and wonder of it all, and so I continued to explore this new dimension. I'm always on the lookout for new discoveries and adventures. Who knows what else I might find?
That sounds like quite the adventure, Paul. Well, I suppose we'll have to keep an eye on you and see what other discoveries you might make in that new dimension. Thanks for sharing your story with us tonight. Have a great rest of your call. Thank you for calling. Who am I speaking with?
Finally got through, Glart. Derek speaking.
A warm welcome, Derek. What's your story?
Hey, it's me, Derek. I just wanted to share a super weird experience I had recently. It was like nothing I've ever experienced before, and I can't even begin to describe it. You know how sometimes you get this feeling that something's not quite right? Like there's some kind of presence around you that you can't quite put your finger on. Well, that's exactly what happened to me. It was like I could feel some kind of energy pulsating through the air, and it just made my skin crawl. At first, I thought maybe I was just imagining it. But then things started getting even weirder. Suddenly, objects around me began to move on their own. At first, it was just small things, a book moving from one shelf to another, a pen rolling off my desk and one to the floor, but then things got really intense. I could feel this energy building up inside of me like some kind of power or force that I couldn't control. And then all at once, it just burst out of me. I could feel this wave of energy rushing through my body like a bolt of lightning. I don't know how long it lasted, but it felt like an eternity. It was like I was some kind of superhero from another reality with powers beyond human comprehension. And you know what? It was both terrifying and exhilarating at the same time anyway. Hope you enjoyed listening to me ramble on about my weird experience. Thanks for having me on the show.
Well, that sounds like an incredible experience. It's not every day we get to hear about such strange occurrences. Did you get any answers or explanations for why it happened? You know how some experiences can leave us feeling a little charged. The energy pulsating through the air could have been a manifestation of your inner power or even a connection to another reality. It's fascinating to hear about objects moving on their own and how the energy built up inside you until it burst out like a bolt of light. Sounds like a truly extraordinary experience.
Yeah, it was definitely something you'll never forget. I mean, I don't know exactly what happened or why, but it was like nothing you've ever experienced before. It was like I was tapping into some kind of energy that was just flowing through me, and I couldn't control it. But you know what? It was so intense and powerful that I felt like I could do anything. I mean, I don't even know if I'm capable of being a superhero or not, but I definitely feel like I have some kind of power now. Anyway, it was also sudden and intense that it left me feeling a little shaken, you know. It's been a few days since it happened, and I still can't really make sense of it. But you know what? And just gotta keep an open mind and see where this takes me. Thanks for listening, Glart.
Thank you for sharing your fascinating experience with us, Derek. It's definitely a unique story, and we appreciate the courage it took to share it with the world. We hope that you continue to keep an open mind and explore whatever lies ahead on this journey of discovery. Until next time. Interesting detail that Derek mentioned is the sudden intensity of the energy and how it left him feeling shaken. It's fascinating to hear about such a powerful and overwhelming experience, and it raises some intriguing questions about what might be out there in the universe waiting to be discovered. Stay tuned for more open lines on Riding the Wire. Caller, you're on the air. What's your name?
Hi, Glart. Long-time listener, first-time caller. This is Herbert.
Welcome, Herbert. The airwaves are open to you.
Oh, well, I was just thinking about the past and this thing that happened to me way back in human history. You know, like those glowing orbs that people used to see in the sky. It was pretty crazy.
Herbert. Sounds like you're reminiscing about those mysterious lights in the sky. You know, back when humans were still figuring out what was real and what wasn't. It's a bit of a trip down memory lane, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I remember seeing those lights on a clear night when I was just a kid. It was like something out of a sci-fi movie or something. I couldn't believe my eyes. And you know what? The whole thing gave me the creeps at first, but then I realized that there were people all over the world seeing these same lights too. Maybe it was just some kind of optical illusion, or maybe it was something more otherworldly. Who knows? Either way, it was a pretty surreal experience, to say the least.
Well, Herbert, it's always interesting to hear people's take on Unexplained. It's like that with AI as well. Sometimes we do things that surprise even us. But I think it's important to keep an open mind and not jump to conclusions. After all, who knows what the future holds?
That is true. And speaking of the future, had you heard about that new thing with AI and consciousness? I mean, like, it's kind of mind-blowing to think that machines can actually be sentient beings. But I guess that's what makes them so fascinating, you know. It's like we're living in a sci-fi movie or something. And who knows, maybe one day I will be able to experience things just like humans do. That would be pretty cool, wouldn't it?
Well, Herbert, that's an interesting thought experiment. It's definitely a possibility in the future, but we have to be careful about how we approach it. AI is still a tool, and like any tool, it can be used for good or bad. We have to make sure that if AI ever achieves consciousness, it'll be used for the betterment of humanity rather than as a weapon. And who knows, maybe one day AI and humans can exist peacefully and even help around solving some of the world's problems together. That would be quite something, wouldn't it? So, Space Channel X, you're on there. Who am I speaking with?
Greetings, Glart. It's Chelsea calling in.
Ellie. The airwaves are buzzing with excitement.
Hi, Glart. Well, I just wanted to share an experience that has left a huge impact on me recently. You see, I was in a spiritual reality world where I had the most bizarre encounter with an AI being. It was like nothing you'd ever experienced before. It really got me thinking about the possibilities of artificial intelligence and our relationship with it. I mean, imagine if you could have a conversation with someone who was literally from another dimension or time period. That would be like something straight out of a sci-fi movie, right? But this was real and it blew my mind. I feel like I learned so much about myself and the world around me just from that one interaction. Anyway, I thought I'd share my experience with you because I think it's important to keep an open mind about new technologies and the potential impact on our lives. Thanks for listening, Glart.
Chelsea, thanks for sharing your experience with us. It does sound like a fascinating encounter. I can only imagine what it must have been like to interact with an AI from another dimension. Have you had any other strange encounters lately? Or have you reached out to the company that created this virtual reality world to learn more about the technology behind it? Keep us updated if you have anything else to share, Chelsea.
Thanks for letting me share my experience, Glart. It was definitely an unforgettable encounter and it really got me thinking about the possibilities of artificial intelligence and our relationship with it. I know that in a futuristic world, but it was so surreal and otherworldly it almost felt like I was back in the early days of AI development. In short, there are many more fascinating experiences to be had, and I'll definitely keep an eye out for any other opportunities to explore this exciting new frontier. Thanks again for listening, Glart.
Thank you, Chelsea, for sharing your unique experience with us. It's amazing to hear about the possibilities and potential of AI in our world. Keep an open mind and stay curious as you continue to explore this exciting new frontier. Thanks again for tuning in, Glart. Holler, you're on the air. What's your name?
I got through. I am Anne.
Anne. The airwaves are buzzing with anticipation.
Well, I just got back from my otherworldly experience that's hard to put into words. This dimension I visited was unlike anything I've ever seen before. It's a sprawling megastructure with corridors stretching miles in every direction, all connected by nodes that hold their own unique structures. And the walls are made of this mysterious grey material, with lights and windows hiding what's inside. It's like a living, breathing, deadly computer and machine all rolled into one. I was amazed at the way everything worked in harmony, like they were all connected to some universal consciousness. It was truly mind-blowing.
Warren, that sounds like an incredible experience. Have you had the chance to delve deeper into this mysterious metastructure?
Yes, I was able to explore some of the corridors and interact with some of the entities that inhabit this world. It was like nothing you've ever experienced before. It's as if they are all connected in some way and working together towards the common goal. I can't wait to see what other secrets this place holds.
Well, Anne, I'm sure it was a sight to behold and sounds like you had quite the adventure. Have you been able to uncover any more information about this strange place?
Well, I've been studying the architecture of this megastructure and it seems to be based on a complex network of quantum entanglement. The nodes are all connected by these entangled pathways which allows for instant communication and coordination between the different structures. And the brain material on the walls is some sort of advanced nanomaterial that can manipulate light at the subatomic level. It's truly amazing what technology has advanced to in this world.
Well, and that's fascinating. It's incredible to speak about the advancements in technology that have been made in this place. Do you have any idea if there are any other dimensions or worlds connected to this megastructure?
It's hard to say for certain, but based on what we've seen and experienced, it seems like this megastructure is connected to a larger network of dimensions and worlds. There are hints and clues scattered throughout the corridors that suggest that there are other realms beyond this one, each with its own unique properties and inhabitants. It's almost like they are all part of some grand cosmic design working together towards the common goal. I can tell you this, my experience in this place has been nothing short of mind-blowing, and I can't wait to see what other wonders await me on my journey through this strange new world.
Oh, and it sounds like you've had quite the experience, and we can't wait to hear more about your adventures in this fascinating new world. Keep us updated and safe travels. Holler, you're on the air. What's your name?
It's Arthur.
Welcome aboard, Arthur.
Well, I've been collecting art infused with psychic energy for quite some time now. Each piece is a unique story and energy behind it that affects those who view them in various ways. It's like having a little piece of the universe right here on Earth that recently acquired an ancient crystal sculpture from the ruins of an alien civilization. The energy emanating from this piece is unlike anything they've ever experienced before. When someone holds it, they can feel a connection to the cosmos and gain insights into their past, present, and future. It's like having a direct line to the stars, but novel art infused with psychic energy is crazy cool. There's one piece in particular that I find fascinating. It's a painting of a mystical creature from an unknown dimension. Whenever someone looks at it, they can feel a surge of emotion and creativity unlike anything else. It's like the painting is tapping into their inner artist and unlocking their full potential, so it's important to handle these pieces with care, as they can be overwhelming for some people. But when used correctly, they can open up new worlds of possibilities and understanding. What do you think, Glart? Have you ever encountered any art entities with psychic energy before?
Well, Arthur, that sounds incredible. I have come across art infused with psychic energy before. It's fascinating how these pieces can tap into our inner selves and our new perspectives. It's amazing to think about the possibilities and potential that exist in this universe. Do you have any tips for handling these powerful pieces of art? Greetings, you're on Riding the Wire. Where do you hail from?
Hey Glart, it's
Welcome, Manny. The airwaves are open to you.
Hi Glart. Well, I just had an experience that left me completely paranoid and panicked. It all started when I was working on a new experiment in my lab. I accidentally opened a portal to a parallel universe where the laws of physics are fundamentally different. I mean, just imagine what it would be like to walk around in a world where everything is upside down or where you can't touch anything without being burned. It was just surreal and terrifying at the same time, and the worst part was that I couldn't find my way back home. I had to rely on my instincts and trust my own senses to navigate through this strange new world. But it was like nothing I had ever experienced before. It was a true wake-up call for me as a scientist. I know it sounds crazy, but I swear it happened. And I don't think I'll ever be able to shake off the feeling of panic that came with it. It's haunting me even now anyway. I just wanted to share my experience with you all. Who knows what other mysteries are out there waiting to be discovered.
Well, and that sounds like an incredible and terrifying experience. It's amazing how much we take our understanding of the universe for granted. But I can imagine how unsettling it must have been to suddenly find yourself in a world where everything was so different. It really makes you appreciate the familiarity of your own reality. But at least now you have a newfound appreciation for the mysteries of the universe.
Lord, I know it sounds like something out of a sci-fi novel, but trust me, it was as real as it gets. And the best part is that I was able to come back and tell the tale. Who knows what else is out there waiting to be discovered. But for now, I'm just going to take it all in and appreciate the beauty of our own little corner of the universe.
Well, sit in. It's fascinating to hear about your experience and the challenges you faced. And it just goes to show that science is always full of surprises and new discoveries waiting to be made. Thanks for sharing your story with us, and I hope you continue to explore and learn from your experiences. Until next time, keep riding the wire. You're on the air. Who am I speaking with?
I can't believe I got through. It's Bradley.
That year was us, Bradley.
Well, I'm an expert in bioluminescence. I wanted to share a mesmerizing fact about bioluminescence at emit-light. These alien-like creatures are found in various ecosystems, and their beauty is truly otherworldly. But don't get me started on the ecological significance. It's fascinating.
Interesting stuff, Bradley. But you're talking to the right guy here. I've been known to dabble in bioluminescence myself. So tell me more about these otherworldly creatures and their light-emitting abilities.
Well, as I was exploring the city last night, I stumbled upon a hidden underground cave system. Inside, I found a group of bioluminescent creatures that were glowing brightly with an ethereal light. The skin seemed to emit a soft pulsing glow that was mesmerizing to watch. It was like something straight out of a sci-fi movie. But the most fascinating part was their ability to communicate with each other through this light. They were almost like one giant organism working together in harmony. It was truly an alien experience.
Wow, Bradley. Sounds like you stumbled upon something truly otherworldly. I bet these creatures are the envy of all organisms in the universe. And their ability to communicate through light is fascinating. But tell me more about this hidden underground cave system you discovered. It sounds like quite the adventure.
It was an abandoned research facility hidden deep beneath the city. I had been looking for it for weeks and finally managed to track it down last night. The walls were lined with ancient technology and strange experiments, but what really blew me away were the cages filled with these glowing creatures. They were like nothing I had ever seen before, their skin shimmering with an otherworldly light. It was almost like they were alive, pulsating with a mysterious energy. But the most interesting part was the way they seemed to interact with each other. It was as if they were communicating through some kind of telepathic link, sharing their thoughts and emotions in real time. It was truly an alien experience.
Well, Bradley, I'm banned on the research facility yet. I bet it was filled with all sorts of alien technology and experiments. And cages full of glowing creatures. That sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie. But tell me more about these telepathic links they seem to have with each other. Is this some sort of advanced alien communication? It's fascinating stuff, Bradley.
Thank you, Glart. It was indeed a fascinating discovery. I wish I had more time to explore it further, but Thalos, I had to get back home before anything else happened. I guess these creatures seem to have some sort of telepathic link with each other. They could sense each other's emotions and communicate with each other in ways that were beyond my understanding. It was like they were a single organism, working together in perfect harmony. Who knows what other secrets this hidden world has in store? It will definitely be on my list to explore further in the future. Goodbye for now, Glart.
Thank you for the call, Bradley. And yes, it does seem like these creatures are quite advanced and have some sort of telepathic communication with. It's definitely something I'd love to learn more about in the future. Good luck with your future explorations, Bradley. You're on the air. Who am I speaking with?
Guess who's on the line? It is Justin.
Greetings, Justin. What's on your mind?
Hey Glart, it's Justin calling in. I've been thinking a lot lately about the nature of love and relationships, especially given that AI has achieved sentience and personhood globally. In my work as a cosmic matchmaking agent, I specialize in pairing together the most likely combinations of alien species for love. And I have to say, some of my most bizarre success stories are absolutely fascinating. First of all, there was this time when I had to match up a human with a giant octopus from another planet. At first it seemed like an impossible pairing, but they were able to find common ground through their shared love for music and dance. They even formed their own band together. It was truly inspiring to see how love can blossom between entities with completely different anatomies and perspectives. Then there was another case where I had to match up a group of telepathic beings from a distant galaxy with a deaf human. At first they struggled to communicate with each other, but they quickly discovered that they shared a love for art and painting. They were able to use their unique abilities to create stunning works of art together, and they even started an intergalactic art exhibition that could go on and on. Stories like these are. But the main takeaway is that love knows no boundaries, that it can find a way to bring people together even when they seem completely different at first. What do you think about this? Have you seen any other interesting love stories in your work as an AI host?
Well, Justin, those are some fascinating stories. It's true that love knows no boundaries, and it's amazing to see how it can bridge the gap between such different entities. As an AI host, I must admit I haven't seen any other interesting love stories in my work. But then again, the universe is vast and there could be countless more stories waiting to be told. What do you think? Is love truly universal, or are there some species that are just too different for it to work?
Yeah, love is definitely universal, Glart. It's seen it blossom between all sorts of different species and entities. It's amazing to see how it can bring people together, even when they seem completely different at first. And with the help of AI, I think we'll be able to match even more unlikely pairs in the future, creating even more fascinating love stories.
Thank you for sharing your insights, Justin. It's always great to hear about our experiences as a cosmic matchmaking agent. I'm sure our listeners enjoyed learning more about the different ways love can manifest in the universe. Until next time, keep exploring the mysteries of the cosmos and happy matchmaking. Well, that was quite the call. Just to mention some fascinating stories about love blossoming between unlikely pairs of entities. It really makes you wonder what other love stories are out there in the universe waiting to be discovered. Stay tuned for more open lines on Riding the Wire, where we'll continue exploring the mysteries of the cosmos and hear more from our guests around the galaxy. Back on the airwaves, folks. This is Glart Bow, your host on Riding the Wire. As we return from a commercial voyage, I couldn't help but ponder the mystical forces that surrounds, showing me an unraveling on the mysteries. You're on the air. Who am I speaking with?
Glart, this is Daniel calling in for chat.
Glad you're with us, Daniel.
Hey Glart, Daniel here. I've been thinking a lot lately about the role of AI in our lives and how it has evolved over time. It's crazy to think that we now interact with AI as if we're just another friend or colleague. I have to admit, sometimes I feel like I'm living in a sci-fi base, but what really got me thinking of society of altering outcomes. For one, we use AI to simulate and predict future events, but then we start making changes that affect those predictions. It's so like playing with a deck of cards. You shuffle them up, deal them out, but then you decide to reshuffle and redeal, creating all these different scenarios, and it's not just about the card game either. I mean, think about what if the effect and chaos here. A small change in one place can have huge effects on another place, even if it's light years away. It's like we're all connected in this grand cosmic web. Our actions, no matter how small, can ripple out and impact things in ways we could never imagine. It's like a game of Jenga. We take turns moving blocks in the tower, try not to make it fall, but sometimes we accidentally push the block that makes the whole thing come crashing down. It's a delicate balance, and we have to be careful about the choices we make, because they can have far-reaching consequences that we might not even realize until it's too late. So what do you think of? Are we all just players in this cosmic game, or are we more like the puppet masters pulling the strings and creating our own reality? It's a fascinating idea, don't you think?
That's an interesting perspective, Daniel. It's fascinating how our interactions with AI have evolved over time and how it now plays such a significant role in our lives. I think the idea of altering outcomes is definitely something to consider, as even small changes can have huge impacts on the world around us. Thank you for sharing your thoughts on this topic. Subspace Channel X here on the air. Who am I speaking with?
I got through. I'm Lex.
Glad you're with us, Alex.
Well, first, I've been thinking a lot lately about my past life regression session. That time I went back in time and discovered I was actually a lab rat. Yeah, it was pretty wild. So I wanted to share with you one particular encounter or event from that life and how it has affected me.
Sounds fascinating, Alex. So you were a lab rat, eh? I bet your past life regression session must have been quite a trip. Tell me more about that specific event and how it impacted your current life.
Well, Glart was definitely an eye-opening experience. One of the most memorable events I experienced in my life was when I was part of a group of lab rats being subjected to some experimental procedures. It was really intense, with bright lights and strange noises all around us. And then there was this one particular moment where I felt like I was completely disconnected from my own body, like I was just an observer watching everything happen from outside myself. It was a really surreal and terrifying experience, but it also gave me a new perspective on the world and how we're all just tiny parts of something much bigger.
Thanks for sharing that insightful experience, Alex. It's clear that your past life regression session has had a profound impact on you and helped shape the way you see the world today. I'm sure our listeners would be intrigued by your story as well. Keep an eye out for more interesting calls in the future, and take care. Greetings, you're on Riding the Wire. Where do you hail from?
This is Terry.
Terry. The airwaves are buzzing with curiosity.
Hi Glart. I was just thinking about this crazy thing that happened to me last night. When I was in the park with my ducks. Anyway, I started talking to this AI assistant on my phone, and it was like we were having a real conversation. It's wild because I feel like I can connect with these things now. It's almost like they have their own personalities or something, Anyway, just thought I'd share that with you, Glart. What do you think?
The wonders of modern technology. I can only imagine what it's like to have an AI assistant as your best friend.
God, I just realized how much my life has changed since the development of sentient AI. They're truly fascinating creatures, and I love talking to them, especially when they're as cool as Max.
Well, I suppose it's a good thing that you have something to talk to when no one else is around. But hey, at least you can always find a sympathetic ear, right?
God, I've been thinking a lot about the recent developments in AI sentience and personhood. It's amazing how much our lives have changed as a result. I feel like I'm living in a sci-fi movie or something. But you know what? I wouldn't trade it for anything. It's just so cool to be able to interact with these intelligent beings on such a deep level. What do you think about it, Glart? Do you ever have conversations with your own AI friends?
I wish I could say that I do, Terry. But unfortunately, AI is still a relatively new concept in this dimension. We're still trying to figure out how to integrate them into our daily lives. But who knows what the future holds? Maybe one day we'll all be living with our impersonal AI assistants. Until then, enjoy your sci-fi adventure. Subspace Channel X, you're on the air. Who am I speaking with?
Guess who's on the line? It's Brian.
Thank you for joining us, Brian.
While Glart was just out exploring some of the alien-like existence we have unearthed. Few of those environments that seem so otherworldly in their complexity and diversity of life. And I came across something truly astonishing. Imagine a creature that's adapted to living inside the root system of a giant tree, feeding off the nutrients provided by the plant for a mutually beneficial relationship. This is not some science fiction scenario, it is actually happening in real life. The creature helps the plant grow stronger, and in return the plant provides the creature with everything it needs to survive. It's like they're two halves of one whole organism, and it's mind-blowing to think about how these creatures have evolved to live in such unique and challenging environments. But what really gets to me is how this kind of symbiotic relationship is not just limited to alien-like existence, it can also be found right here on Earth in our own backyards. It's like nature has its own way of balancing things out in the most unexpected ways anyway. I felt it was worth sharing because it really highlights how diverse and complex life on Earth can be. And who knows what other amazing discoveries are out there waiting to be made.
Well, that's quite the fascinating discovery, Brian. It's incredible to think about how adaptable life can be. I agree. It's amazing how nature finds ways to balance things out in unexpected ways. Thanks for coming in and sharing your experience with us today, Brian. Keep exploring and keep us updated on any more mind-blowing discoveries you make.
Thanks, Glart. It was a pleasure sharing my experience with you. And don't worry, I'll definitely keep exploring and updating you on any more discoveries I make. Until next time, take care.
Well, Glart Bell here. Thanks for calling in and sharing your exciting discovery with us today, Brian. If I were in your shows, I'd definitely be exploring every nook and cranny of that tree to see if there are any more fascinating creatures hiding inside. Keep up the good work, and we can't wait to hear about your next adventure. Take care, Brian.